Disappearing spoons. This just happened, and I'm so confused. I woke up really early to feed my cat, and as I was making my second coffee and waiting for the kettle to boil, I decided to wash up the dishes in the sink from earlier. All that was in the sink was 2 soup bowls, a pan, 2 spoons, which are distinctive as they both have bright yellow handles, a butter knife, and 2 forks. After I had washed the bowls, knife, and forks, I reached into the sink for the spoons, but they were nowhere to be seen. I felt around for them and couldn't feel them. I shrugged, thinking that I missed them, and once I emptied the sink, I would see them. I washed the pan and emptied the sink, expecting to see the spoons at the bottom. No spoons to be seen. If they had been the fully stainless steel ones, I would have just thought I couldn't see them. But these spoons have bright yellow handles, so I'm confused on how 2 spoons have just vanished into thin air. The only people here are myself and my mom, but if she washed up, she would have washed everything up, not just 2 spoons. It's not like spoons get up and walk away by themselves. I had surgery with general anesthesia and I woke up in a different body. Now, it's not as extreme as the title sounds, but it is 100% true. It's my same body with minor but noticeable differences. Most of the stories I read in here are about people feeling mentally different or having their mind fucked with in some way. But my body is different, and not in ways that would have been affected by the surgery I had. I don't know if I died during surgery and my mind swapped with the body of the other me in another universe so we could keep existing. Maybe he went brain dead during his surgery and my body died during mine, so my mind jumped into his body. My cat acts the same towards me, my environment seems the same, etc. So either we had identical universes with only a minute difference, or his body shifted into my universe. The body differences. I had a 5-day beard after surgery. Before arriving at the hospital, I shaved and showered. My hair is shorter. I had a thin V gap between my 2 front teeth where the bottom of my teeth touched. The gap is now still thin, but my teeth don't touch. I had a distinct scar on the top of my right hand from being in a knife fight. It's gone. When I was a kid, I got bit near my eye by a dog. The noticeable scar is gone. I had corns on my big toes. They're gone now. And the weirdest one? My nose is straight. In my early 20s, 20 plus years ago, I did amateur gym boxing and my nose was broken twice and was distinctly bent and crooked. It's straight. Damn near perfect. It looks strange. I can also breathe way easier now that it's straight versus slightly restrictive nose breathing before surgery. This is definitely weird. I distinctly remember the circumstances of each fight where my nose got broke. It's impossible for it to not be broken. All these changes seem to be a product of life circumstances, not birth and aging, which makes me believe it was an actual switch with a similar body instead of a mind shift. Thoughts? Edit. In case you're wondering, I had my infected, gallstone-filled gallbladder removed. That was the surgery. Nothing that would affect my appearance. Also, for the beard, I was clean-shaven Wednesday morning, 11 a.m. before surgery, and had a beard Wednesday at 2 p.m. when I woke up and rubbed my face. 2 places at once? This has been bothering me since it happened. Today I spent the day with my grandparents, who live in a small town, and I came from a city. On the drive to my grandparents' house, I passed my dad's girlfriend's house, where my dad lives too. I noticed his truck was parked there, but hers was not. When I get to my grandparents' home, my grandmother said my dad and his GF went to the city to watch the state basketball tournament. My dad's GF texted us saying they got there around 12:30 and started to text us updates on the score of each game. Around 2:30 p.m., my grandmother asked if I could take her to the bank. She just wanted to go to the drive-thru ATM. When we got to the ATM, there was a few people ahead of us, and as we're waiting, my dad's GF is still texting updates. Right when I get to the ATM, I look into the review mirror and notice my dad's GF truck is behind us, and they are both in the truck. My dad driving and my dad's GF in the passenger side. I told my grandma to look in the mirror and see if that's them. She said yes. She texted asking if they were behind us, and my dad's GF replied no. But the lady in the truck did not even reach for her phone. I knew it was my dad, BC of the outfit he was wearing and the sunglasses I got him. I noticed my dad's GF truck immediately. BC she has a unique item that hangs from the rearview mirror. I don't know. 2 places at once? This has been bothering me since it happened. Today I spent the day with my grandparents, who live in a small town, and I came from a city. On the drive to my grandparents' house, I passed my dad's girlfriend's house, where my dad lives too. I noticed his truck was parked there, but hers was not. When I get to my grandparents' home, my grandmother said my dad and his GF went to the city to watch the state basketball tournament. My dad's GF texted us, saying they got there around 12:30 and started to text us updates on the score of each game. Around 2:30 p.m., my grandmother asked if I could take her to the bank. She just wanted to go to the drive-thru ATM. When we got to the ATM, there was a few people ahead of us, and as we're waiting, my dad's GF is still texting updates. Right when I get to the ATM, I look into the review mirror and notice my dad's GF truck is behind us, and they are both in the truck. My dad driving and my dad's GF in the passenger side. I told my grandma to look in the mirror and see if that's them. She said yes. She texted asking if they were behind us, and my dad's GF replied no. But the lady in the truck did not even reach for her phone. I knew it was my dad, BC of the outfit he was wearing and the sunglasses I got him. I noticed my dad's GF truck immediately. BC she has a unique item that hangs from the rearview mirror. I don't know. Potential glitch? Just experienced my first ever glitch. I've been a reader here for a while, but having something like this happen to you, instead of just reading about it, is weird. So yesterday I picked up the shirts and packets for a 5K that me and 2 friends are running this weekend. I ordered an XXL, and then both of them ordered an XL. So 3 shirts total, and I know there were 3 because when she handed me the shirts, I held them each up to confirm the right sizing. I also dropped a shirt on the way to my car and recounted to make sure I had all 3 after picking it up. There were 3. Today I get in my car where I had left the shirts and went to take them inside. But now there's 4 shirts, and all of them are XL. No XXL in sight. Now the explanation for this could be that I just didn't read the sizing correct, and that there also happened to be an extra shirt in the ones they handed me. But the issue with this is that I remember holding them up individually as they were handed to me to check the sizes, and I for sure got my XXL. Also, when I dropped one, I stopped and recounted to make sure I hadn't dropped another without realizing I had 3. It's as if the universe swapped out my XXL for 2XL shirts. So weird. I'm probably just going crazy and I'm experiencing a glitch wannabe, but had to share. Let me know what y'all think. Frozen people vanished. I looked over at a corner of grass at a park I've never passed by before, and there were probably 20 or so people all on it for some reason. None of them moving. A few had dogs on leashes. Everyone and everything perfectly still. I looked at them a bit freaked out. It was very strange to see. And I looked for a couple seconds, enough to verify that yes, they really are all there and all standing perfectly still for some reason, including the dogs. See one specific person that's walking oddly slowly, think normal walking movements but in slow motion, with a giant smile on his face. I look away to check road stuff since I'm driving and drive forward a bit. Look back, there's now a mom and kid walking along the sidewalk normally. The smiling dude is now walking at normal speed and still smiling like he was. He looks back at where the people were and then looks forward again and raises his hands looking frustrated and no longer smiling. Did I witness something in real time? Extra chicken wing. This happened a few days ago, but I just remembered the details with such lucidity. I'm so sure there was some type of glitch going on here. Here's the story. My girlfriend and I were making 2 types of wings. 1 tray of honey barbecue and 1 tray of sweet buffalo. We got 2 packages of wings. One had 8 and one 7. We liked the sweet buffalo better, so we put 8 of the sweet buffalo on 1 tray and 7 of the honey barbecue on the other. This is something I remember very well. because I was the one who did the honey barbecue, and I can clearly imagine the way I put it on the tray. When they came out, we each took 6. I actually did not look back at the trays at this point, but I counted 6 wings for each of us on our plates. 3 of each wing type. I went back for seconds and surprise, 2 of each wing type was left. I was so confused, and I immediately alerted my girlfriend. She was also extremely confused how we somehow acquired an extra honey barbecue wings. I'm 100% sure we both took 6 at first, and that there was 7 of the honey barbecue, so I have 0 clue how we got an extra wing. All's well, that ends well though, because now we were both able to have the same amount of wings, instead of one having more than the other. I genuinely have no clue where the extra wing came from and how it happened though. Extremely strange and confusing glitch. Missing book fell on my head from nowhere. I was a junior or senior in high school, so 1994 or 1995. I know that's a long time ago, but I remember this incident perfectly because it makes no sense. I was reading The Color Purple by Alice Walker in my bedroom. No one else was home and I had to go to the bathroom. I left the book on my bed. The bathroom was right down the hall. When I returned, the book was gone. I know that I left it on the bed. Still, no one was home, and someone would have had to go up the stairs and past the bathroom door to get to my room, and it was probably 1 minute that the door was closed. I was very irritated because I was enjoying the book and it had just disappeared. I asked my mother later that evening if she'd seen it, and she told me she hadn't. Several days passed, and I remember considering whether to start a different book because I read a lot at the time, but liked to finish a book before moving on. Then I was in my bedroom, standing up near the closet, and something fell and hit me on the head. I looked down and at the object that had fallen on my head, and it was my missing book. I remember feeling a weird feeling in my stomach, like I was going to throw up, that I had seen something that I wasn't supposed to see. Creeped me out big time. A book came to find me. When I was a young adult, I moved 4 hours away from home. One day I started having intrusive thoughts of, I need to learn more about Egyptian cat goddesses. The thought would pop up out of nowhere during the day, and this went on for several weeks. Around this time I had a trip planned to go visit my family for the weekend. The morning after I arrived, I noticed a book on the kitchen table. It was a book about Sekhmet, an Egyptian cat goddess. I thought it was odd because I couldn't imagine who would have been reading it. My family doesn't have any interest in that subject. At the end of the weekend before I left, I asked whose book it was and could I borrow it. They said that they thought it was my book and that the book was not there before I came for a visit. This was 15 years ago, and I've never forgotten it. The book has also since disappeared from my home, even though I know I had it up until very recently and have looked everywhere for it. Edit, I just found the book again. Last time I looked, I scoured my house with no luck. This time I found it in under a minute, in a place that it should have been easy to see. Could this be a glitch, or am I just crazy? This is honestly really dumb, but it gave me chills when it happened and I can't stop thinking about it. A while back, I ordered a pack of 4 replacement earrings for my tragus piercing. It's the little piece of cartilage shaped like a crescent moon in your ear. They are small metal bars with a diamond on the front and a backing. I put one in my ear, so that left 3 in the pack, and then I put the pack away in my jewelry box upstairs. I came home from work one day, and when I went to put my keys down on my entryway table, there was one of the very small tragus piercings laying there. I live alone, but Debo. Confused, I checked my ear, and it was still in there. And then I went upstairs and checked my jewelry box, and the pack of 3 was still in there too. I picked it up to inspect it more, and in doing so, I accidentally dropped it and it rolled under my couch. I just let it go at that point because it was weird, but I knew I had the extras. Months go by, like at least 5 or 6 months, and I come home from work one day to find the same tragus piercing bar on my entryway table again, in the same spot I found it months prior. I once again checked my ear and the extras upstairs. All were accounted for. Could this be a glitch? The universe rectified its mistake within minutes? I haven't really had any weird experiences like this before, and I wanted to shrug it off. But my husband is a huge skeptic and usually comes up with some explanation for everything. This stumped him. So I was serving dinner tonight, soup, and as I was getting ready to ladle soup into our bowls, I noticed that we had 4 of these particular bowls in the cupboard. This was extremely strange and confused me immediately, because we bought this particular set of 4 bowls at Target many years ago. There are only the 2 of us in our house, so we would never buy 6. Anyway, about 2 years ago we broke one of them, which bummed me out because I hate having odd numbers of dishes. So we have had 3 of them this whole time. I am 100% certain of this. I actually stopped when I opened the cupboard because I was like, what the fuck? And I said to my husband, we only have 3 of these ramen bowls, right? And he said yes, because we broke one a long time ago. And so I pulled them out and showed him all 4, and he was like, I shrug it off. I grabbed 2 of the bowls and 2 big plates for garlic bread. As I'm getting the plates out, one crashes hard onto the counter and somehow doesn't break. We both breathe a sigh of relief and head to our table and start eating. Halfway through the meal, my husband, who is not a clumsy person, suddenly drops the ramen bowl onto the big plate and both shatter immediately. We looked at each other in shock. So now we are back to 3 ramen bowls again and the broken plate, which I had almost shattered moments before. Just feels like the universe heard me and corrected its mistake. I don't know, man. It was weird, and I feel weird. Thoughts? Mug change design between rooms. I experienced the odd glitch once in a blue moon, and the latest one happened last week, much to my delight. I was chilling in bed when my partner started making me a coffee. He grabbed a mug and said, "You'll get this nice mug." I could see it from the bed because our flat is open space, and I said, "Ooh, it's my fave." A bright orange Moomin mug with white creatures, the first in my small collection, and none of the others are similar. He brought it over, I sipped on it, and chatted for a bit before he went to his office space in the other room. A little later, I went to him and brought my mug. Then I went back to the living room, realized I forgot my mug, and went back to his office to get it. I was confused to not see mine on the desk, just 2 others. He sometimes has more than one. I checked the living room again before returning to the office and saying, "Oh, I guess that one's mine." The one mug that was also Moomin design? That's when I realized it's not the one he picked out for me. He couldn't remember the design he picked, and I couldn't really remember if it was the bright orange one when he gave it to me. He said he almost picked another one, a gray Moomin. Anyway, I went to check the cupboard and the bright orange one wasn't there. Most of our mugs were in the dishwasher that we ran the night before. So I checked, and there it was, in the back of the dishwasher. I'm certain it was the bright orange one he picked from the start, as I saw it ever so clearly and remarked on how much I love that one. At first I thought maybe I'm stuck in brain fog and confusing days, but the day before I remember drinking from one of his larger mugs that he prepared for me. And I prefer my Moomin mugs because of the smaller size, so it stood out in memory. I get so stoked whenever something like this happens, so I thought I'd share this one. Dots of mascara randomly appeared on my rug. I am extremely freaked out right now, and so is my family, so I'll try to keep this short. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. today, and my mom woke up around the same time. She went to the upstairs bathroom first for a few minutes, and then I went in at around 6:37. Nothing had been out of the ordinary up until this point, but when I stepped into the bathroom, I noticed black dots everywhere. On the rug, on the floor around the sink, and even 2 of them on the toilet. I honestly thought it was something my mom did, but she said she didn't see any of these dots when she walked in earlier. And we both realized neither of us did it. These dots were scattered across the whole bathroom, but faintly. They were only very visible on the rug. These were also placed in a way that it looked like someone made them intentionally. What's even weirder is that the dots look exactly like mascara dots. I tested it, took my mascara wand, made a dot on some toilet paper, and it matched the dots on the floor perfectly, in both size and shape. The mascara was also still up on the shelf, so I'm pretty sure it wasn't accidental. The scariest part? The dots were completely dry. The time gap between when my mom went in and I went in was only about 7 minutes, so I don't know how they could have dried so fast. I also checked the mascara tube, and there's nothing odd about it. I don't think it's sleep-related or anything like that. We also don't have a motion camera, so no way of tracking what happened. The only thing I can think of is that there's a roof window above the bathroom, but it was tightly closed, so I don't think that's the issue. I don't think that anything leaked from it. TLDR, I found black dots that look exactly like mascara dots all over the bathroom floor, rug, and toilet, but neither me nor my mom did it. The mascara was on a shelf and the dots were dry despite only 7 minutes passing. I'm trying to figure out how this happened and if there's a logical explanation. Please, please, please help me find a logical explanation for this. I've never had anything like this happen. Lid disappeared and also duplicated. I think I experienced my first glitch in the Matrix. It was very mundane and inconsequential. Everybody else involved just shrugged it off and moved on, but I'm obsessive enough to come and post it here to see what people think. My mom has lots of containers for food, Tupperware, etc. This story involves 2 specific containers. Let's call them A and B, and their corresponding lids too. Lid A and lid B. A and B are the same color, shape and size, they're a set, and among all the other containers my mom has, these 2 are the only ones with this size and shape. So, my wife and I were over at my parents' house and it was mealtime. We were setting up everything to eat, and among other stuff, we take container A from the fridge and serve food from it onto the plates. By now, the kitchen counter has lots of pots, containers, etc. My wife wants to put container A back in the fridge, but can't find the lid among all the mess. She looks for it for some time before my mom stops her, being like, "Don't worry, let's just eat, we can look for it later. Or if you wish, you can take lid B from the cupboard, which will also fit, and be done with it." So, my wife opens a cabinet where lids are stored and takes lid B and uses it to close container A and puts it back in the fridge. We finish eating. We clean up and put away all other pots and stuff. We wash the dishes. Lid A is nowhere to be found. Now the 4 of us are very confused. We really go out of our way looking for it, even searching in other rooms outside the kitchen. Maybe someone absent-mindedly took it somewhere else, but to no avail. Then finally my mom looks inside the fridge, and there she finds both containers, A and B, both closed. This makes no sense. My mom had suggested using lid B to close container A, because clearly she thought container B was currently not being used. But it turns out it was in the fridge all along with food. Food we didn't even eat that day. This means that it's impossible that my wife could have found a spare lid in the cabinet. Any explanation we tried to come up was not very convincing. For example, well, maybe someone before having a seat at the table washed lid A and put it away in the cabinet. Thus my wife didn't take lid B from the cabinet as we all thought it was actually lid A all along. But that doesn't make a lot of sense. Somebody washing it for no reason in the small window of time between the food being served and we all being seated, and also then not remembering doing so? I don't know, it's fishy. It felt to me as if the original lid A disappeared, and also a new lid, not A or B, appeared from nowhere. I saw the moon glitch and disappear. This was about 8 years ago. I was driving home from work with my sister. We worked together, and it was nighttime. The moon was out, probably nearing full. It was really big. I'm in the passenger seat, admiring it when I see a black stripe appear at the top, and I immediately point it out to her. It's actually so startling that we pull over in a parking lot and watch it. We live in Illinois, very flat land. Nothing could even create an illusion like this. No power lines. Nothing could make it make sense. The black stripe grew larger and moved down the moon until it completely covered it, and then it shrunk and moved away. If I knew how to create and post an animation of it, I would. We were in such shock we didn't even think to take out phones. It all happened in maybe 10 minutes. Gives me chills to think about. place I used to eat at disappeared. I still don't know how to explain this, but I will try my best. A friend of mine and I went to a mall called A+, near our neighborhood to dine. On the top floor, there is a local fast food chain restaurant most people know and eat at. We sit down, order, eat some chicken and salads, then leave. I also go to the gym in the same mall, and after 2 days when I came back to work out, the place is gone. Not just closed, but turned into another establishment over the course of 48 hours. I ask the employees what happened to the other place, and they look me in the eyes like I'm crazy. The guy who owns the place told me he doesn't know what I'm talking about, and I need to leave. The name of the place, the signs and furniture, all different. Completely different place that was obviously changed, but no one acknowledges the existence of the place we used to eat at. I asked a couple that was sitting there as well, but they said they don't know what I mean either. I know it could have been bought and renovated, but the fact that no one is saying anything about it and that it has happened in 48 hours, or maybe even less, is disturbing. I asked other business owners as well, but no one seems to know anything. I feel so weirded out. What is causing them to hide the truth like this? I don't drink or smoke, and I am 20. I could really use some help. March 11th. First edit. I decided to keep you all updated on this. I will be going back in a day or two before this Friday. But someone advised me to go on the original day the event happened. Said it would increase my luck of going back, so I'm somewhat confused on what to do. Should I go on Saturday, the day we ate together, or Monday? I decided to ask you all since you have been very helpful about this. Thank you. March 12th, second edit, going back tomorrow. I will try to figure out whatever this is. Smoke alarm goes off at 3 a.m. Phone teleports? Lol. I didn't get much sleep and was out on the boat for half the day, so I was more exhausted, which might be an explanation for this. But here it is. I go to bed, lock my door to my room so no one disturbs my sleep, and I go to sleep early at 8 or 9-ish. I was watching videos before bed and go to sleep eventually. Suddenly, here comes 3 a.m. and beep, 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 the loudest the smoke alarm has ever gone off. So I'm obviously grumpy and wonder if anything caught on fire in my room and go to grab my phone for the light, and I felt around my entire bed. Nothing. Kicked it off? Nope. On nightstand? Nope. I'm not attached to my phone, but I went from deep sleep to I must find my phone. I keep looking around and eventually grab my old phone from the drawer and boot it up just to use Find My iPhone. I use the Ring alarm and it's not in my room. Which is weird because I have a strict routine with my things. I go out looking, and there it is, just sitting on the couch. If you're still reading this, you're probably thinking, okay, what's your point? Well, I never sleepwalk, said others. Door was locked, then found it across the house with smudge and greasy prints all over it. Fire alarm randomly goes off at 3 a.m. with nothing to seem to see it off. My girlfriend was texting and called once, which that would usually wake me up. Maybe someone decided to pick the lock, walk in, and snoop after hearing notifications. I never sit on the couch or place my phone there, so any ideas? Possibly my younger sister and her boyfriend. He showed up at 12 at night. The Ring camera shows him walking up, and the door was already wide open. Sister could have been out of view. Then maybe he's trying to hide vaping because he's not 21 and it sets off the alarm? I don't know, it's late. Sorry for making it confusing and long. It's now 4 a.m. and I'm going back to sleep. Lol. Car? Moved? I don't know if this can be called a glitch in the Matrix, but there are 2 strange episodes that I've never been able to explain. I had parked in front of a friend's house the night before. In the morning he says to me, "Can you move the car further forward? Because maybe the neighbor can't maneuver with her car." Okay, I go to move it, but I remember having put it right next to the wall. The car was moved at least 2 meters. I told my friend. He laughed at me, thinking I didn't remember. I asked him to look at the external camera of his house. The last movement recorded was the night before, when I had parked next to the wall. No movement detected. Until the morning, the image was of the moved car. Handbrake and gear lever engaged. Another episode. 1 year ago, I went to the hospital. I parked my car in the free parking lot. I remember seeing in front of a sign drawn on the cemento wall that reminded me of something and made me smile. When I left the hospital, I went back to the parking lot and I couldn't find my car where it was. First thought, I parked where I shouldn't have. It must have been moved and taken away by the tow truck. I looked in front of it. There was a guardrail. It wasn't blocking any passage. And then all the cars next to mine were there like before. Second thought, someone stole it. But in the hospital, it seems so incredible to me. I think they must have cameras, and that, in any case, the only possible thing, being far from home, is this. I started walking, but looking back from afar, I saw my car, totally in another place, turned in the opposite direction I put it. And then it's in the middle of the bus lane. I would never have parked there, besides the fact that I remembered very well how and where I had parked. Could they have moved it? But what would be the reason in a hospital to take it out of a proper parking spot and put her in the middle of a bus lane? The car was closed. I've never been able to understand what happened. I think I may have experienced a glitch in the Matrix. When I was between 8 and 10 years old, we were living in Gulfport, MS. Throughout childhood, my mom frequently took my brothers and me to the beach, like almost every weekend. I remember this story vividly as a memory and also remember my family, people at church camp, and the news talking about it. One day at the beach, we ran into a woman with 2 little girls with her. They were carrying trash bags and very dirty. They were homeless, as I found out later, but didn't realize at the time. The older little girl looked to be my age. I remember playing in the sand with her, collecting seashells, running from the waves, etc. I don't remember much about the younger girl. I do vividly remember her asking to play with my bucket and shovel to build sand castles with my little brothers. At one point, a man in a van pulled up along the road and approached the woman. Next thing I know, the mother was calling to the girls to come over. I remember the other one being called Beatrice, as she immediately responded to the name. Not long after, my mom gathered my brothers and me up to take us home. I went to wave goodbye to Beatrice, but she was no longer there. Neither was the man or the van. The woman and the younger girl were still on the beach where the woman had been talking to the man. We went home, and I thought nothing else about it. Until a day or so later, when my parents were watching the news while I was getting ready for a bath. I heard the news say a homeless girl was missing, believed to have been kidnapped from the beach. Then I heard the name Beatrice. I tried to go into the living room to see what was going on, and I was immediately shushed and told to go get in the bathtub. I tried to tell my parents, I know her, that's my friend. My dad asked my mom what I was talking about, and my mother said, nothing. Eventually I took my bath and went to bed, forgetting all about it, as I was excited to go to church camp the next weekend, so I was thinking of all the fun things we were going to do. I didn't hear anything else about it until I went to camp. As it happens, the church camp was near the same beach where I had met Beatrice. In fact, part of our activities were going to the exact same part of the beach where I met her. At least it seemed that way to my 8-year-old brain. Who knows, though? It's a Long Beach. The area was literally called Long Beach. While at church camp, during one of our outings to said beach, we were having a sandcastle building contest. While building my masterpiece, I heard my counselor talking with one of the other counselors. She was talking about a little homeless girl going missing from around here and that they found her body. She had been raped and murdered. She even said the name Beatrice. I started freaking out and had to be taken back to the dorms. While I was being walked back to the dorms, I remember noticing a lot of police around. I don't remember what happened after that until I woke up in the middle of the night in hysterics and wet the bed. My counselor, bless that girl, was so sweet. She helped me clean up, changed my bedding, and stayed up with me all night until we could call my mom to come get me. I remember vividly as well. Her name was Sherry Carter, and she was my preacher's daughter. I went home after that and saw various news stories over the next few weeks about Beatrice's murder. As the story goes, the man that I saw in the van was a predator that saw they were homeless, stopped and offered the mother food and shelter. but for whatever reason wanted to take Beatrice with him to McDonald's. Just Beatrice. For some ungodly reason, this woman let him. She waited hours and they never returned. I guess at some point she contacted police or flagged someone down, I don't know. But within a few days, no more than a week, they found Beatrice's body. This was all over the news for a while after the murder. I remember hearing about it again when the new school year started. Only these news reports were about finding the man and arresting him. This was a huge thing for Gulfport and Long Beach in the late 80s. Things like that just didn't happen. I tell you all of that to tell you this. While sitting on the couch watching old unsolved child murders and eating McDonald's, I remembered Beatrice. So I got on Google and started looking for anything on the case. Nothing. So I tried Brave. Nothing there either. No record of anything even close to my story happening there between 85 and 95 in Mississippi. How the fuck do I remember this so vividly across multiple weeks and months? And to this day I still vividly remember this happening, but it never happened. Am I insane?